Hello and welcome. My name is Robin and you're watching a Robin Reads, where I read a lot of different books which you probably have never heard of. So today I'm going to talk about the worst books that I read in 2020. So this video I'm not too excited about because I don't like to talk about the worst books that I read, but I think it's still fun to watch always. So I'm just gonna make this video. So I don't have a lot of books that were the worst because I mainly don't really finish books when I don't really like them. So I will also be talking a little bit about the DNFs I did. So first up, I had 9 books that were under 3 stars this year, and I picked 5 ones that were the worst. So the worst of the worst I'm going to talk about first, and that was unfortunately the first book in the My Struggle series by Karl Ove Knausgaard. Talked about this book before, and why I didn't really like this was, I didn't like anything about it basically. It was very, very slow. It wasn't interesting at all. I don't know why he wrote a non-fiction about himself if there isn't anything to tell. But yeah, I just really didn't like it, and I'm still glad that I finished it because I have had it on my TBR for quite some time. So I'm sort of proud of myself that I did finish it, but I really didn't like it. And I gave this one 2 stars. So yeah, very low rating for me. Then the next book that I really didn't like was called I Love You. It's by Ken Akamatsu. This is a manga book, and I really didn't like this because basically this story is about this guy who basically gets this virtual girlfriend, and yeah, that was just very weird, and it was very, very like sexual drawings as well, which I really didn't like, and just the story itself wasn't very good. So yeah, that wasn't a very nice read. Then the next book that I really didn't like was, I'm not sure what it's called in English actually, I think like The Changing or something. It's by Franz Kafka. This book I read for a readathon, I think, and just finished it because I want to read it for that readathon. And basically this story is about this guy who turns into this beetle for some weird reason. There wasn't even a reason, so I can't tell you. But yeah, I really didn't like it. It was just very weird, not in a nice way or anything. Very slow as well. There wasn't anything happening, and it was just way too weird for me. I think I gave that one like 2 stars as well. Then the next book that I really didn't like, I talked about also in my December wrap-up together with the My Struggle series, and that was Recursion by Blake Crouch. This one I really didn't like because basically the story was very jumbled and just not well set up in my opinion, and a lot of things were explained about like the memory time machine, but it was just too much detail for me because I don't really care about that stuff or can really get it. And yeah, just the story itself was just a bit too much for me, and I just really didn't like it. Gave that one 2.5 stars. And then the last book that I really didn't like was The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. This one I didn't like because basically the whole story she's telling you that she lied about something. That is the main mystery sort of in that story. And then when she tells you what it is, you're like, okay, that's it. Okay, great. So that was very underwhelming. And then I sort of figured out what the end was, and yeah, that was just also not very well done. I think it was just, yeah, pretty boring to me. Basically, I gave this one 2.5 stars as well. And then going on to all the books that I DNF'd this year. So I have 14 books that I sort of want to talk about, just to mention and very quickly why I DNF'd it and why I would probably give it very low ratings. The first one is The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne. Didn't like this one because there was a lot of explicit sexual content, and as you know, I really don't like that. It was very unfortunate because I was very looking forward to that one, but alas. Then the next one was Before I Go to Sleep by S.J. Watson. This one again a little bit as the last time I lied. It wasn't very mysterious or thrilling to me. It was just this woman who tells her story over and over again because she loses her memory basically every day. Just really boring. I didn't like it. Next one is The Silent Patient. Again, a little bit of the same story, just a thriller that's supposed to be thrilling, but it isn't. Next one is Frankenstein by someone. Can't remember. And this one I didn't really like because it was, yeah, very, very, very slow and just nothing was happening. Frankenstein wasn't even in the picture, the part that I read. So I just DNF'd it, really didn't like it. Next one is Fast Friends by Jill Mansell. This was a romance contemporary book. And I didn't really like this one because it was just way too long. It was like 500 pages. I came to half of it, but it was just not interesting enough. I like romances, but they need to be either very funny or very quick, but this one wasn't either. Next book is Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. Again, a little bit of the same story. I just wanted a more thrilling book, and that wasn't there. And then the science part was very weird to me, and I read somewhere that it even doesn't work that way. So that was just also weird. So then I was like, yeah, whatever, I'm just not going to read that. Maybe watch the movies, but you know. Then next one is Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. Didn't like this because again, it was very, very boring. Why do all these thriller books do that? I read like 100 pages. A lot of people have said that like the ending or somewhere until the end, it's a 500, 600 page book. It will get very thrilling and absurd and whatever. I was like, yeah, I can't be bothered. If I have read 100 pages and it's super boring, I'm not going to read the rest. Even though the ending is great, it can't be like a 5-star read for me. Next book is The Little Friend by Donna Tartt. Again, a very, very boring book. There wasn't anything happening. The characters weren't interesting. The story wasn't interesting. I didn't really know what the point of the story was, because basically this brother of the main character died when he was very young, but she sort of tried to figure out who did it or something, but it was way too slow and nothing was happening, so DNF that. Next one is An American Marriage. This one I DNF'd because I can't super remember actually. I think basically it was, yeah, I can't remember. There was something in the story that I really didn't like. That is a spoiler, so I'm not going to mention it, but that is just something that I just can't handle in books. Just really don't like that, and therefore I DNF'd that one. Even though it's a pretty good book, by the way, but that trope I don't really like. Next one is called The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, I believe. This one is a high fantasy, and yeah, I didn't really like this one because basically the story didn't go anywhere and there was a lot of information that was just too much. There was too much information and too much explaining and stuff like that, and I don't like that in fantasy books. For me, or you need to explain like everything, well, not everything, but a little bit more explaining just right at the beginning or something, just an introduction to the story, or just let the story go and just do it yourself, and then you can figure out things when you go on. But yeah, this story just didn't do that, and the story itself wasn't interesting to me at all. Might try this again sometime, but we shall see. Next one is The Clan of the Cave Bear by Jean M. Auel. I'm not sure if you pronounce it that way, but I always pronounce it that way. This one I was very excited about because it's like a story from the very, very early days of humankind, which was very interesting to me, but it was very, very slow, very, very boring, nothing was happening, and just again, a very big book, so it didn't feel worth it for me. Next book was 9 Perfect Strangers by Liam Moriarty. Again, we are seeing a theme. This was a thriller which wasn't thrilling at all. This was about this resort where people went, and basically the first 100 pages I read, nothing happened. Just a little bit about the resort, about the people, that was mainly it. I think something with the resort was there, like the thrilling part, but I couldn't care less, so DNF that one. Then the second to last book was The Unlikely Pilgrimage by Harold Fry by I can't remember. And this one I really didn't like because I didn't really like Harold. If you read A Man Called Ove, which I loved this year, he is very likable and just, yeah, I don't know, I really like him. But Harold Fry was just a very grumpy old man. Well, not even grumpy, he was just complaining sort of a lot, and he was sort of telling his story, but that was just way too slow. He just did a little bit of explanation, and yeah, I just really didn't like that one, so therefore I DNF'd it. And then the last book was The Blooding by someone, I will put it on the screen again. This one I didn't like because basically there wasn't any substance to the story. It was just fighting, and I don't really like that in books. And yeah, later on, basically there was a romance, and I think I read in reviews from people that the romance was more of the focus later on in the story, and that wasn't for me, so therefore I DNF'd that one. And yeah, those were all the books that I DNF'd this year, and also just finished and disliked this year. Let me know down below what your worst book of the year was, which books you DNF'd because you just couldn't manage to finish them. By the way, these aren't all the books that I DNF'd, just the ones that I had some thoughts about. But yeah, again, let me know down below all of your thoughts, and I really hope you liked this video, so please give it a thumbs up, comment and subscribe, and I will see you later.